Greetings, YouTube. Daddy Staten here on the Daddy Dan blog. Here is a special treat for you today. I'm flashing back to 1968 with the number 4 strange suspense stories from Charlton Comic Books. And I'm thoroughly disappointed in this one. When I picked up strange suspense stories, I thought I was going to get the Twilight Zone. And instead, I got Dragnet. What? Yeah, it's true. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Well, before we get started on this dismal nightmare, let me tell you about the really cool cardboard tank you could have had for $7 back in 1968. And it shot some really cool Nerf-looking sponges out of the front of it. Oh, it was so much fun till it got wet and fell apart. Or you could have ordered Casago, whatever the hell that is, or monster-sized skeletons, which I had that, and the Frankenstein for the back of my door, and I also had the really cool secret book safe. Did you have the secret book safe? Let me know in the comments below. Our story starts off with Andy and Barney racing to the scene of a crime in their really cool Mayberry patrol car. Well, wait a minute, wrong story. Now, this is the story of a detective named Corey, a private detective who's inept and unable to find anything. He is probably the worst detective on the face of the planet. Probably because he's named Corey. But Corey's partner has been murdered, and yeah, now, our story of suspense begins as Corey investigates the untimely murder of his dorky little partner. So, in one of the most boring full panels brought to you by the 99 blog that you ever seen, Nat's dead. Corey's upset. They're going to talk about Corey and Nat's relationship for a minute. Corey's going to have a flashback to when they were in the police academy together, how they got out and started their own private detective agency. Oh, the glory of Corey. In all the excitement of a very bad episode of Dragnet, Corey heads off to see the police commissioner. And he's not Commissioner Gordon, let me tell you, boy. The commissioner says it's a police matter, and Corey should piss off. He actually told him to piss off in a comic book. Wow, I didn't think you could use words like that in a comic book in 1968. But anyway, Corey gets told by the police commissioner, you need to piss off. Corey gets a little upset and dangles the old police commissioner around. I don't think he could do that in 2026. If you dangled a police commissioner around now, it probably wouldn't work out well. Corey leaves disappointed and disenchanted. Back at the private detective office, Corey remembers a stash where Nat kept secret information. He finds Nat's stash, and it's a list of names with but one marked off. It must be a clue! And who is this Raymond Morrison, the last name on his list? We'll have to investigate, Corey says to his new partner, Dick. Corey's slick. He sends Dick Tracy. I don't guess that guy's last name is Tracy. He sends Dick Tracy off to go follow Mr. Raymond Morrison. Why he goes and talks to the girl from Star Trek? Oh, I'm tripping. That's not the girl from Star Trek. That's the wife of a nobody that Nat was investigating the disappearance of her dad? What? Oh, good Lord. That's right, her dad's a crazy scientist, probably from NASA, and he's went missing. Her uncle and brother are very upset about the missing scientist crazy guy. And she hired Nat to find him, and that's got to be the most boring story on the history of a comic book. Who puts this crap in comic books? I'm very upset that I'm getting a slow, drug-out, dragnet piece of crap today. So, as I fight my way through the worst comic book in the history of comics, apparently, I find that the ads bring me the only pleasure I'm getting from this comic book, because I could have grew live monsters. That's right, for $1, or had the really cool trick black soap. I could have had all these fun things back in 1968, and when I came along in the 70s, honestly, I had quite a few of them. Some of them were cool, but some of them, like these glasses, were really disappointing. You couldn't see through nothing in them, boy, I tell you what. So in full panels, brought to you by the Daily Damn Blog, once again I flash back to 1968 with a Carlton comic book of torture. As of course Dick Tracy sucks, and Reynolds has gave Dick the slip. Don't you hate it when Dick gets the slip? What? Anyways, informing our hero Corey that Dick got the slip from Mr. Reynolds, and Corey's all upset about that one. He heads straight over to the Reynolds residence where they put the kibosh on him. That's right, he walked into a trap. It turns into a slugfest. Bad idea breaking into this house. Mr. Reynolds' house was where the mad scientist was holding up. And the mad scientist everybody's been looking for, he created the zippy zapper, which knocks people out. By the time the police bust in the door, all they find is zips that boy on the floor. A brawl breaks out in the back as Corey is getting his butt beat down by a psycho mad scientist. What? And apparently the mad scientist is not a wuss, because the mad scientist chucked Corey down the elevator shaft. Oh, the day of my dreams would be when I could chuck a Corey down an elevator shaft. And we end part one. Part one. Oh, God, there's more. We end part one with Corey dangling at the bottom of an elevator shaft, hopefully going to fall to his demise anytime soon. And then we get a reprieve. That's right, we get to see some really cool commercials where you could have sold grit and got this shit. What? Did I say that? Or you could have had some shoes that jacked you up and made you look taller. Because I think Gene Simmons ordered them. And then because we're watching some crappy ass police drama in a comic book that looks like Dragnet, you're gonna get badge 1313. You know, that's supposed to be some scary story stuff, I guess. I'm not gonna read this crap. If you want to pause it and read this crap, I want you to feel free to do that. Daddy Dan will not be reading this garbage. And then we get a commercial for comic books I can only assume are 10 times better than the piece of shit I'm looking at here today. Oh. Part two begins. Oh boy. And we find Corey in full panels, brought to you by the Daily Damn Blog, dangling in an elevator shaft where we hope he falls to his untimely demise. But no, Corey's some kind of superhero. Look at him bouncing around back to the top of the elevator. He pushes the button back down the elevator shaft just in time to accidentally run into Dick. Yeah, Dick has arrived. Dick, what's wrong, Dick? I ain't feeling too good, Corey. Something's wrong, buddy. Dick, what? Oh, my God, Dick, you've been shot. Ah! And Dick goes down. That's right. Dick went limp. Dick has died. Dick was shot. Dick did not make it in this comic book. And there goes all my views, because YouTube won't push out a comic book when dicks get limp and people die. And now we get a flashback to what happened when our hero relives what happened to Nat. That's right, somebody's spilling the beans about Nat. Remember the guy from the first part of the story? The guy who they found in the bushes dead? Well, this is what happened to Nat. He was tortured. He was spawned. They wanted all these secrets, and they got all these secrets. They wanted to know where something was hidden, and he spilled the beans. Yeah, Corey's all mad about Dick going down. Oh, God, I said that. Oh, I just don't think Corey's going to be able to live without his dick. Anyway, he tracks down the mad scientist to a cabin in the woods. You know, it's always a cabin in the woods where the mad scientist hangs out. They go in and confront the mad scientist, but the mad scientist is a little too slick. Remember, he done throw Corey down an elevator shaft once. Corey ain't real happy with his mad scientist, but of course the mad scientist, one push, gives Corey and his new police officer partner here the slip. I guess he had Barney with him. So Corey and Barney lost the professor again, but this time they got a clue. They found a match pack. So in full panels, brought to you by the Daily Dan blog, I present to you the most boring story that's ever existed. And of course, if it's that boring, it'd have a guy named Corey in it, wouldn't it? Let's do some shout outs. Be sure to check out Dave Sunstorm and his incredible brother Steven Sunstorm. You know, the good stuff, guys. And trust me, they probably won't watch this video because this is definitely not the good stuff, even though they stole Andy Griffith's car. Be sure to check out Pat McCormick at the golden rage of TV, retro TV trivia right here on YouTube, as well as my partner in crime, Thrash. Pondo Ponds. You can see me there every other week. Sorry we missed this week. I had a family thing I had to do. And be sure to check out E. McGill, the Unapologetic Geek. You can see me there with E. McGill, the Unapologetic Geek, every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. He gave me that really cool Kolchak series. Be sure to check out our girl, baby, at Brain Benders Banners. You can see me there on Saturday nights hanging out with Baby and the gang. And be sure to check out True Cryptid Encounters, Book 1 and Book 2 from Bigfoot, Michigan Rob Knarfel. And he's one of my really good friends, and I love his books. It's almost as good as E. McGill's book, I swear. And the Daily Dan blog is a member of Blue Line Bigfoot. Be sure to check out Blue Line Bigfoot, as well as our other friends, you know, BK on the Air, Big Guys 45. My flock is everywhere, Sarah, my wonderful producer. You know, we love that girl. And the Nostalgic Pod Blast Chance, Retro Nerd Girl. And the Life and Sad Endings channel. Be sure to check out Caucasian Sasquatch. And I think that's about everything, bye. And a match pack leads our inept detective Corey to a swank little dive in the city in true Dragnet style. Oh, I hate this comic book with a purple freaking passion. And immediately into the city, right when he comes to the Jolly Demon. The Jolly Demon? But, you know, that's a good name for a club, the Jolly Demon. He sees the bad guys walking out, and it turns into a gunfight, a firefight, and a car crash. Whoa, the excitement in the last few pages of this crappy comic book. So, in full panels, brought to you by the Daily Dan blog, one last time, this comic book goes off the freaking rails, boy! How the police commissioner showed up at the scene of this crime, I'll never know. But Corey and the police commissioner go a couple of rounds before they decide to head downstairs and check the place out. The minute they head downstairs and check the place out, they come under heavy fire. Corey goes down, hopefully for the last time, as the commish finds himself in a gun battle with invisible foes and a hall of mirrors. Quickly out of nowhere, Corey comes up and knocks Commish on his butt. I guess he saved his life as Corey goes a little bit crazy. What's going on? Corey's been zapped by the professor's goof ray. That's right, he got hit by the goof ray, and now he's seeing things that aren't there, like giant snakes. I hate this comic book with a passion, by the way. Did I tell you that? They're only illusions, Corey. They're only illusions. Corey's imagining stuff. The gas, I guess, that was released from the ray. Zapped by a ray, hit with some gas. He's all messed up. He's having illusions of giant rats, giant spiders, ghosts, apparitions. He's firing off his gun over and over and over again. Snap out of it, Corey. Snap out of it. Corey begins to snap out of it as the evil professor from Creepshow makes his first appearance in the comic book here on the last page to zap him. What the hell, man? I swear to God, I hate this comic book so much. Bad guy shows up for the first time in the comic book. Check back through it. This guy's not been in a comic book. And what does he do? Hold up his knife and hit an electrical socket, and swear to God, that's how they end it. He died on the floor electrocuted himself. Corey, you're the worst detective on earth. You can't even kill the bad guy. He has to kill himself. That's the only reason you hallucinating ass escaped as you go to your friend's funeral. The end. They bury his partner. I hate this comic book. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I've never seen nothing so freaking horrible in my whole life. Thank God for commercials. And you got the really cool commercials where you could have learned judo and maybe beat Corey up. Or you could have wrote poems, got free stamps, or 1,000 tricks. Thank God for good commercials. And I get to end this dismal nightmare with some really cool commercials. Astronaut tough. That's right. You could have trained for NASA in this comic book, buddy. All you had to do was fill that out and send it in. Or you could have had any one of these really cool things. I think I talked about these earlier. Some of these earlier. Yeah. You could have had any one of these really cool. I think I would have ordered the surprise package for $1. You don't never know what you're going to get with a surprise. Oh, God, or how to waste the back of a comic book. And that's what they done. And that's my look at Strange Suspense, number 4 from 1968. The story of Corey the detective. What a piece of garbage. It's drawn pretty good, but it's like reading a Dragnet story that they threw a little bit of science fiction in the last 3 pages to make you interested. But it's a piece of garbage. Yeah, I highly recommend nobody buys this comic book. Well, that's my look at strange suspense stories, and I had a really cool comic book called The Cat. That's right, I had a couple of comic books about The Cat, an old TV show, and I was going to do that, but I couldn't quite grasp it, so I chose this piece of garbage over these two. It's like battling pieces of garbage this week. Maybe I'll get to them pieces of garbage sometime this year. Till next time, this is Danny Staten on the Daily Dan blog. Be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the stupid bell, and I'll be back next week with a comic book, hopefully a little bit better than this piece of garbage, boy. Till next time, blog over.